Hi everyone, and welcome back. I hope you all enjoyed your best possible self stories. I'm Rayanna Schnarr, and today we're going to continue to build off of the awareness of life into awareness of self. And fortunately, we're not the first to want to know the self, though this discovery will be very unique to you. So we'll be incorporating today the study of yoga, but this is not the yoga that you may know. The origins of yogic study come from the science, philosophy, and spiritual devotion towards unity of the self, so that's the body, the mind, and the spirit. Our yogic lifestyle is based off of a 2,000-year-old system, which believes that to know the self is to know the infinite energy of the universe, being fully fulfilled and living in peace, being yourself as you truly are. So the 8-limbed system of yoga begins with your yamas, or ethical standards. You can think of this as having respect for others, acting in a way in the world which shows awareness of higher ideals. Next is your niyamas, self-discipline. You can think of this as having respect for yourself, learning from yourself and accepting your fate. Then is your asanas, or your yoga postures. This is what you may recognize as yoga. Think of this as moving in harmony with the body. So this is moving with the perfect amount of effort and deep contemplation. Next is your pranayama, or breath control. This is also your energy control. You can think of this as your inhalations, exhalations, holding your breath, and techniques of holding and counting your breaths over time. Then your pratyahara, so you can think of this as having emotional control, your ability to withdraw from the external world around you. And so you're no longer reacting to the world, but you're acting as yourself from your true nature. Then is your dharana. Think of this as having harmony of the mind, so your capacity to have harmony within your mental mind chatter. Your dhyana, which is meditation. Think of this as having contemplation, allowing your thoughts to flow uninterrupted. And lastly is your samadhi, finding full enlightenment. Think of this as ecstasy, nirvana, being fully fulfilled. This is when your self is transcended and you're completely connected to the interconnectedness of the universe. Though we might want to skip to the feelings of this ecstasy or interconnectedness, at the end of your practice, you need to understand the system as a journey. And as any journey, we must begin at the start. So the system starts with 5 yamas and 5 niyamas, which resemble the 10 commandments or the 10 virtues in Buddhism. You can see this as moral codes or finding the right way of living along your path. And we'll be focusing on the relationship you have with yourself by observing yourself through your niyamas, which you'll become more present and aware of each action and choice you make in life. So this is also the pathway towards internal peace, which is often associated with our yoga practice. So let's look at the relationship you have with yourself through the principles of niyamas. Our first principle is purity. The principle of purity invites us to cleanse our bodies, our speech, and our thoughts. And when we are purified, we can become a safe space for ourselves as well as others. Next is contentment. Contentment invites us to fall in love with our own life. It asks us to remain centered in our present reality and find gratitude in what we currently have. Contentment brings joy. Next is self-discipline. Self-discipline invites us to consciously choose discipline and growth. Having daily practices and staying with the unpleasantness of life allows us to burn away our old selves and be transformed into a stronger, more resilient self. Self-discipline brings refinement. Next is self-study. Self-study invites us to know the self. It asks us to turn our focus inwards to better understand ourselves by peeling away our layers and finding our true divine self. Self-study brings freedom. Last is surrender. Surrender asks us to pay attention to what life is asking of us. It asks us to accept the reality that we've been handed while also being active participants, partnering with life. We learn to let go of control and grow into being more skillful at living life. Surrender brings harmony. So we'll be integrating these values throughout the course as positive reminders towards living healthy and being a fully liberated self. We'll start by writing these statements in your journal. So you could take your journal, come to a fresh page, and we'll do it together. We'll start, purity brings clarity. And while you're doing this, if you could think of an example of how purity can bring clarity into your life, how cleaning out the old can bring a sense of clarity within the self. Next is contentment brings joy. And if you can think of an example of how being content in your life can bring joy, bring deep joy. Next is self-discipline brings refinement. And again, thinking of a time where you were able to use discipline to build refinement in your life. Self-study brings freedom. So learning about yourself, knowing yourself, brings freedom as you are able to be yourself. Lastly, surrender brings harmony. Thinking maybe of a time where you let go of resistance and were able to find harmony through conflict. So just having those simple reminders on your page, on your journal. Every day we'll be moving towards our self-study. So practicing our self-study with our morning pages, so continuing in our journal, but bringing it to our bedside. We'll be doing morning pages. That's your 15-minute self-study for this class. Morning pages are 3 pages of stream consciousness. So this is 1 page, 2 pages, 3 pages. If you have a smaller book, then you have smaller pages. Whatever it is, it's 3 pages of continuous writing first thing in the morning. This requires a level of discipline to want to know yourself. So to want to peel away the layers and focus your attention inside and being able to see that self in a tangible way. You'll notice that these are a lot of chatter. So it's all that angry, witty, petty stuff. You'll write this down in the morning, and that's the stuff that stands between you and your ability to hear your true self. So we cleanse ourselves. We find clarity by purifying ourselves of our thoughts, worrying about the job, the laundry, the funny knocking in the car, the weird look in your lover's eyes, the stuff that rattles around your subconscious and muddles your days. We get it on the page, and this is where the power is. There is no wrong way to do your morning pages. So don't worry about spelling errors, don't worry about run-on sentences. You can change from one topic to another. Don't reread your pages for at least 6 weeks if you choose to read them later on, and no one else reads your pages. So all I ask, you wake up in the morning, you write 3 pages, and then you move on with your day. So the magic will begin as soon as you do. So that's all for today. That's your self-study. Keep your journal by your bed, and I'm excited to see you next class. Bring a mat. We'll be working on the awareness of the body. So moving through physical awareness of the self. So I'll see you next class. Bye, guys.